Hey everybody, Dr. Zuleta here and welcome to this week's module. Today we're going to be talking about the amazing neuroscience of behavior modification. So behavior modification is pretty important because it allows us to really understand how easy that we're going to get these new behaviors and these new habits into our lives, because as you know, it's not easy. It's not easy to be able to put things into our lives. And so for that, we're going to look at the work of Dr. B.J. Fogg. And so Dr. B.J. Fogg actually wrote a book called Tiny Habits. And so we're going to break down the process that he has developed to help you implement these behaviors into your life. And so the main thing is that what is a tiny habit? And so a tiny habit is once a day. So you're doing it every day. You're doing it less than 30 seconds a day, and you're doing it with little to no effort at all. And so it's pretty low effort. Why is this so important? Well, this is important because it takes a lot of motivation for us to be able to implement a new habit, to do something new. It literally takes the body a lot of energy. Take, for instance, like if you are going to take a new road, if you're going to take a new road and this is full of trees, you're going to have to chop all these trees down, right? And so so the first time that you're trying to get from point A to point B, you're going to have to take, a machete out or something out to start carving out a path, right? And so imagine habits are the same way. You literally are having to create that same thing in our brains to go from point A to point B. And so the least amount of resistance that we can have is the best way that we can do it. And that's what neuroscience shows. And so if we're going to try to go from point A to point B, we need to overcome all of that. And so we need to find the path of least resistance from A to B, right? And then after that, after we've gone through it once, you squeeze through, right? And you get to point B, then you're able to start building a little bit more. And then you start maybe taking off one, two of this, three of this. And now you're going to have what is called a pathway of power, right? And so in your brain, this is going to be a lot easier now to go from this point A to this point B, and from point B to point A, right? And that's why it's hard, guys. So let's say that I'm trying to make a new habit to go through here. It's gonna be hard because your body literally has to start creating a new pathway. And the cool thing though is that if you have pathways that are created already, if you stop using them, your body will start overgrowing again, right? So that's the cool thing. That's our brain's delete button. And so how do we do that? How do we get to the point where we can do a small little habit? And so you can pick something really simple, right? But it's got to be something that is less than 30 seconds, right? So for instance, for me, the way I got myself to start looking at my financials every single day and to start actually saving money every single day was to, okay, I'm going to do $1 a day, and then after a month, I'll increase it to $2 a day, right? And so you take this concept and you start designing habits in every area of your life. And it's amazing. And so, but when I did it is that I do it every time I had a green juice, because I know I am going to have a green juice every day, right? I love my green juice every day. And so that's already wired in. And I know I have that. And so the way that I was doing it is, okay, I'm going to do it as I'm drinking my juice. I'm going to check my financials in all my accounts. And then I'll drink my juice. And it takes me about, pretty quick. The first one I said, I'm going to just check one bank. Actually, the first one I start is I'm going to just do the $1. And so that takes pretty simple. Log in into the account and put $1 into a specific account, right? And so then I started wiring that in, and then it becomes a part of my life. It becomes a habit. It becomes a habit that every day I'm investing something. I started with $1, right? And so that has really helped me transform so many areas of my life. I mean, the same thing with push-ups, the same thing with workouts. I used to go to the gym every day, but now with COVID, it's changed. So before, before I take a shower, boom, I hit the workout. And so it doesn't matter where I'm at, I'm gonna hit some sort of workout. And so that's the beauty of creating a small habit. Now, it's gotta be less than 30 seconds to start, it's gotta be once a day, and it's gotta be little effort. Create no pain. If it's a push-up or something, that's okay. But you don't want something to be really painful or something like that. So you could do a plank for 30 seconds. Have you tried doing a plank for 30 seconds? And actually, planks have been shown to have the biggest recruitment of abdominal muscles. One of the exercises that has the biggest recruitment of abdominal muscles. So it's better than a crunch for many, many ways, for many things. So that's what a tiny habit is. All right, that's what a tiny habit is. Now, let's go into a little bit more in depth. So, the way that you want to do it is that you want to say, okay, after I brush my teeth, I will floss one tooth. After I, wake up from the bed, I will, do one push up. After I, take the dog for a walk, I'll do certain thing. And so whatever it is that you're doing every single day, you tie it with something else, right? And so that's what it's called habit stacking. And so you want to stack it into something that you're already doing, something that you're already doing. All right. And so you want to take it 5 days. 5 days, you start on Thursday, and then Monday. What I want you to do today and tomorrow is to plan it out. Actually, today and tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, to plan it out and to rehearse it in your brain. You want to rehearse it just as if you would rehearse a wedding, just as if you would rehearse anything. You want to rehearse it in your mind. Okay, I'm going to pick this tiny habit on Thursday. After I do this, I will do this. 30 seconds, 30 seconds, right? After I do this, I do this. 30 seconds. And so you're going to install a new software in your brain, per se, that you're going to do that little tiny habit every time you do this one thing. But it's got to be something that you already do, right? And so why is it important to start so small? Like I mentioned, you want to require a low level of motivation, because our behaviors, to change our behaviors, requires a high level of motivation. And so it requires a lot of neurochemistry to do that. So we want to hijack the brain and start creating the pathway, right? Now, the cool thing is that you can do a couple of things. How do you make it simple? Simplicity changes behavior. Simplicity changes behavior. If you're trying to say, okay, I'm going to do 20 habits, I'm going to change this and change that, it's going to be a lot. And so simplicity changes behavior. For instance, in the app, if you want to use the app, the better app, if you want to get better at using it so you know what's going into your body, right? That's the only way to know. And so if you want to learn how to use it, just do scan one thing that you're eating. So, and you don't have to say, okay, every time I'm eating, you could say, every time I eat something at my kitchen, boom, I'm going to scan one thing. That takes you 30 seconds, right? Boom, pull up the app and scan it. And so that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, to be able to make it very simple. And so you can create two types of micro habits or tiny habits. The first one is you can make a start step, meaning the first step to something, right? And so it's the first step to something. And then if let me show you, okay, so if you say, okay, I'm going to eat a salad, well, that could be kind of hard for some people. What you can do is I'm going to put the carrots out, right? Every time I'm going to eat, I'll put the carrots out in the table. I don't have to eat them. And so that's a tiny habit. You're doing something, right? You're doing something very simple. And most of the times, your body's probably going to have a carrot. You don't have to do. You don't have to have the carrot. You just say, okay, I'm going to take the carrots out, right? And so that's the beginning step. So that could be the first step to some sort of behavior, right? And then the tiny version is like, okay, instead of doing 100 push-ups, you just do one push-up. That's how I got myself to start lifting weights, because I used to not lift weights at all, but after learning the amazing benefits of doing resistance training for our brains in so many ways, then I started lifting weights. That's how I got started, lifting one time. I would go to the gym and say, okay, I'm going to lift the heaviest thing I can one time. And I would literally take me 30 seconds, and then I would go in. And then after that, I started building up, building up. And so that's the beautiful of keeping it simple, because it works. Now, the key is to find a good spot. You got to find a good anchor. So if you say, I'm going to go running every time I take a shower, that's going to be hard. But if you say, I'm going to do 30 seconds plank every time I take a shower, you can do that in your bathroom, right? I'm going to do a push-up every time I take a shower. You can do that in your bathroom. I'm going to flush. I'm going to stretch. Whatever it is that you want to do, you just got to find a good anchor. And this is what is called behavior design, that you're starting to design the behavior throughout your day, how you're going to carry yourself throughout the day. Now, and so this is what it's going to look like. You say, after I will. After I will do this. After I will do this. And then the last piece of it is you got to celebrate. You got to give yourself props. You got to give yourself, jump, whatever you got to do, play a song. You got to, even if it's doing the inner talk, good job. You got to celebrate, because that starts triggering the reward. And you can train yourself to even reward yourself to certain things that will seem to be painful or hard to do. And then your brain will learn how to do them. And so that is the mission for this week, is to create one tiny habit and to do 5 days of that tiny habit. It could be anything. It could be anything that you guys want. And just to give you a little example, it could be as simple as something like this. I'll give you an example. If I'll give you examples here. Okay, if I brush, I will flush one tooth. If I pour my morning coffee, I will open my journal. If I pee in my home toilet, I will do 2 push-ups. If I sit down on the train, I will take 3 deep breaths. After I put my head on the pillow, I will think of a good thing from the day, right? That sort of habits. And so it's got to be really simple. I'm going to do sky breathing for 30 days, like Annette was saying earlier, one of our people in our courses. And so sky breathing is just a fast breathing, like Wim Hof. So you could do that for 30 seconds, and definitely is going to help you relax. And so that's kind of how it works for anything. And so you could take your financial health, you could take your relationship health, you could take your physical health, and you can take your environmental health, and you can do one little tiny habit. A tiny habit in relationships could be, after I get on my car, before I turn on the car, I'll send a text to my wife every morning, right? Or my partner, whatever that is. And so that could be the little tiny habits, right? And so tiny habits is the process for this week. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next module. Until next time, Dr. Z here. Take it easy. Bye-bye.